So, World's End Girlfriend, a Japanese experimental rock and electronic project created by Katsuhiko Maeda. It was, at one point, one of the biggest contributors to the creation of post-rock as a genre. Albums like Seven Idiots had them presenting and implementing a glitchy production alongside various subtle genre fusions. However, the stuff on this album is anything but subtle. Listen, to all of the World's End Girlfriend enthusiasts out there, if you're watching this, I don't think this is the video for you. I really tried to see the genius of this album, but unfortunately the production and mixing decisions did not make this album a pleasant listening experience. With some certain pretty good exceptions, Resistance and the Blessing is a daunting, jarring, and frustrating smorgasbord of an album that tries to make several misguided fusions of classical, noise, and ambient music, sound collages, and bizarre song ideas where the diversity of its sound does not mean it is engaging. Oh, and need I remind you that it's 2.5 hours long? Yes, not only does this record destroy any balance between its highs and lows, but it simultaneously overstays its welcome by repeating the same sounds over and over and over again. Back when I first listened to this album for the first time back in February, I labeled the first quarter the worst one on the entire album. However, in this re-listen, I kind of take back that stance, but it's still really, really bad. Reincarnation number 9, Fire Walk With Me, introduces a major problem with this album, which is that the classical music passages that are interpolated in this record do not mesh well with the glitchy noises and the distortion. Fucking hell, some parts of Meguri sound like a Tiny Thief pause screen. However, here comes the frustrating part. Despite all of the bad things that are present within this record, there are actually some very good spoken word and soft piano passages interjecting themselves in between all of the ear-rupturing noise of this. And I don't see it as noise that has meaning like I said in the Metal Machine music review. I mean, it just doesn't sound like it has any meaning. In the Name of Love starts off good, but it becomes so distorted that the melodies are almost unidentifiable by the end. The sudden switches from glitchy and intolerably intrusive noises to pleasant and harmonious musical passages makes this album so damn disorganized that it sounds like it doesn't know what it wants to be. Moving on to the second quarter, we have Eve, which is the first actually listenable track on the record because it does have some beautiful vocal work from Smanny. That's the thing. The soothing voice present in the spoken word passages and the singing bits is actually really good, but they don't mix well with all of the overwhelming and senseless noise present throughout the majority of this record, rendering the two souls simply just ruptured my ears and switched styles midway through. Then again, with the good tracks, it comes in Cosmic Fragments, which is a good ambient track. Fearless Virus starts out good, but it ends with distortion that ruins the song yet again. I feel like all that I'm doing now is complaining because this record was genuinely really disappointing given how much time Katsuhiko Maeda put into making this record. However, I will give this record this. As I said before, the vocals are really good, and the lyrics, which I got translated from Genius, are actually really deep and profound. They engage you. The cover art is pretty good, and the diverse sound makes it so that each song sounds relatively different, even though all the noise meshes it into a single, large pile of shit noise. Continuing on with the track list, Black Box Fatal Fate Part 1 Monolith has an ear-piercing, high-frequency noise that really perturbs your experience. And the album feels the need to redeem most of the harmonious bits with trash angels. a disastrous and unpleasant to listen to sound collage. By this point, we've already transitioned into the third quarter of the record, and here the songs get a lot shorter, fortunately. It's a lot less work for my ears to survive through. At this point in time in the album, I'm just getting bored. I just wanted to take the songs that I liked and just finish this album as quick as I could. One of those songs was Himitsu, which does have, once again, good vocal work from the part of Smanny. However, not even 2 minutes after this comes the 10-minute rendition of Ave Maria. This song right here is emblematic of everything wrong with this record. Not only is there distorted instrumentation that ruins the experience by destroying your eardrums, but there are distorted vocals that make it seem like the singer is constantly voice cracking throughout the entire song. The entire track is very much battling with Black Box Fatal Fate Part 1 and Trash Angels for being the worst track on this record. After that dumpster fire, we have See You Again and An Epilogue Jubilee, which provides a rocky but rather tolerable finale. Holy shit, this record was a chore to get through, not only because it was so long, but also because of how frustrating it was to listen. There were a ton of genuinely awful songs that I would never wish upon my worst enemy, but there are also really good and melodic parts within that noise that impulse it a lot higher than it should have any right to. Even though I did have a much harder time listening to this album than fucking Valedictorian, it is a lot better than I gave it credit for initially, even though I had a much less pleasant listening experience with this album. Despite it being something I find so fascinating with how botched and misguided the melodies, the production, and the mixing were, I'm fair enough to acknowledge that it does have some genuinely good aspects that hold the album back from being even more insufferable. But yeah, this was a long one, so I guess I should give the score for it and just end it. 5 out of 10.